You have a second section on dogmas, and I was really impressed by, once again, how you synthesize, but how you simplify and summarize three essential truths that we've got to put our finger on. We've got to kind of keep our eye on this. The first one is what? Group over person. Explain this collectivist mindset.
Sure. Yeah, I was really interested in trying to distill down what was happening because, particularly in 2020, a lot of people were saying, "Why? I want to fight for racial justice, but why does a group like Black Lives Matter also say they want to queer the culture and disrupt the nuclear family?" And so that's where the second section really came from, is an effort to try to understand what is the driving, animating logic behind it. So the first distortion in the dogma section is an emphasis on group over person. As you said, it's indoctrinating people into a collectivist mindset where the person is really reduced to becoming an avatar or a totem for the ideology. So you see this, I think, concretely in, for example, I think I talk about in the book, in the first Women's March in 2017, there were a group of pro-life feminists who wanted to march alongside and officially sponsor the walk. And when the organizers got wind that they were pro-life, they said, well, you can walk with us, but you may not have any official affiliation. And they were confused. They thought, well, is this an abortion march or a women's march? Because we align with you on all these other tenets they had. And I think what they didn't realize is that there's a fundamental shift in the definition of the human person that's at work here, which is we define ourselves in the Judeo-Christian tradition as rational animals made in the image of likeness of God, who are defined in proximity to, in relationship and daughtership and sonship to love himself. We're defined by love. And that gives us a mission to go and spread the good news to other people that they are loved. And the woke movement changes that definition, where instead of defining us by universals, what creates bonds amongst people, they center the oppression. And so, we're defined, according to the woke, not by the love of God, but rather by the hatred of society. And that is at the core of our being. So if a woman is not fighting the oppression that is central to her definition as a woman, she somehow is not fully living out her womanhood. And so I think then understanding that shift in definition makes sense of how those women were not allowed to, sponsor the march. And you see this also with, there was Nicole Hannah-Jones, one of the main authors of 1619 Project, said, we all know there's a difference between being racially Black and being politically Black. It's not sufficient to be racially Black.